Everyone, so one of the most important topics for Unit 5 is applications of the first derivative. So let's go over some key ideas that you have to know. First, you have to know that a function is increasing when the first derivative is positive or greater than 0, and then it's decreasing when the first derivative is negative or less than 0. Where the first derivative equals 0, or if it's undefined, that's called a critical point. Then you need to know how to find relative or local maximum and minimas. So basically, a maxima occurs when your derivative is going from positive to negative, right? Something like this. This is going to be a relative max. And then a relative min occurs when your first derivative is going from negative to positive, right? And that would be your relative minimum there. So the first derivative test basically determines relative or local extrema based on those sign changes. Next, you should also be familiar with the candidates test, which basically allows us to find absolute or global extrema. And we do this by looking at f of x at both the critical points and the endpoints on a closed interval. Okay, so we've already talked about these key terms, but feel free to pause and read through that if you would like. And then let's just go over our summary table quickly. So basically, these are kind of the three main topics that you need to know and basically how they relate to the first derivative. So you need to know where the function is increasing and decreasing, and oftentimes use a sign chart for f prime of x to analyze that. Next, you need to know how to find relative or local extrema, which you're going to use the first derivative test to do that. And then next, you need to know how to find absolute extrema, which basically means looking at both the critical points, which again is where the derivative is equal to 0, and the endpoints, and basically identifying your global maxima and minima. All right, thanks so much for watching.